Here's a 1995 F150 that we recently picked up. We're gonna make another Flareside truck out of this. It's automatic 302, currently not running. Have an issue with, don't know if you can see or not, but well, here's the one end. Wiring harness is chewed up a little bit. There's a mice nest down underneath the intake manifold. So we're gonna pop that thing off, splice some wires, stuff back together. I have a spare harness, so I might end up swapping the engine harness, I'm not really sure. And clean up a little other odds and ends. Probably got probably gonna paint the intake manifold. I got another one over here off another truck, paint it black, clean up throttle body and stuff, put it back together, get it running. We got this is the front bumper off my red truck, so got it on. Gonna do the painted headlight doors and grill. Gonna do Flareside bed. As you can see, it was fleet side bed, but gonna swap it out. We got a lot of paint and stuff to do on the frame. Gonna get 2 new gas tanks, running dual tanks. Pretty easy swap there. I mean, you just factory lines, wiring, plug and play. So should be a pretty nice running truck once it's all said and done. It's got the maroon interior, which I absolutely love. This interior, wish I had it in my other truck, but I mean, it's no rips, tears. Carpet is super clean, factory everything. I mean, this truck hasn't been abused or anything. It's life, so hopefully it'll be a nice little project here. Alright, so I got the upper intake manifold off, and you can see both these injectors here have the wires chewed off. I mean, basically right at the plug-in, which, I mean, I got the other harness, and I mean, they're chewed off down here right at the other harness here. So I mean, there's a big chunk of wire they're missing, and if I want to try to, well, I can't splice that, but I want to take this whole harness out just to see if the other one will work. This one's a mass airflow and the other one's a map. I don't think they're the same, honestly, but who knows, might get lucky. If not, I'm gonna have to take it out anyway and take all that loom and everything off and splice the other injector wires in somewhere. So get to work with that. And got the intake manifold off, and gaskets surprisingly in one piece. Usually they break. There's two differences, I guess, a couple differences. This intake has the plug-in, or the port here, 2 different ports on top, versus this one just has the single port here and none over there, which there's extra one here. This is for the PVC, so I just have to make a new hose connection there. And then there's a stupid where to go, there it is, Torx bolt that's kind of hard to get to, that's straight down the center here. You gotta have a really long Torx bit, or what I did, because I don't have my Torx bits with me, is I took a little Torx bit that fits inside of a socket, taped it on the socket with a long extension. This is all 1/4 inch drive stuff, and worked. Fell off a couple times when it was down in there, but you know, still got it off, got the job done. All right, I got all the wiring, everything out. Was not easy whatsoever. You can see there's a bunch of trash and acorns down each side of the valve cover. You know, this thing, I guess, was sitting for a little while, and some animals made it their home. Yeah, right there is supposed to be these 3 wires, and then right here and here is supposed to be another injector wires. And I mean, really, it wasn't terrible to get out, other than the fact that I don't know if it's a knock sensor or what it is. It's right on the back of the intake, goes down into the back of the block, and you have no working room. You can't see what you're doing in it. I mean, these plastics, yeah, I snapped each side of it, which it doesn't matter because I'm not using this harness, but all this old plastic doesn't want to come off. Definitely a pain in the butt. Here's the parts motor I got, and everything looks to be the same on this wiring. I'm going to take it off the motor here and double check, but pretty sure I'm going to be able to use this, so definitely a plus. But here's that sensor I was talking about that you cannot reach. It's down underneath fuel rail, the lines, I mean everything, and it was not fun at all. This one, I don't think it's been chewed up, but the animal's been living in this one as well. But we'll get it off here. All right, so I got the other harness off. Everything's identical other than this harness has an extra knock sensor by the center of the intake manifold right there. And then it has this extra long wire here, which is only 2 wires going to it, which this harness does not have. But this harness has the low pressure switch here that is up at the top of the AC compressor right here. And I'm assuming that's what the other long one goes to. No clue, because I don't have the truck. I just had the motor with the harness. So I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and put that new harness in, and hopefully everything works and I can cut and splice the correct end on the new harness so it plugs in here. And I got all the acorns and mouse turds, everything vacuumed up. So hopefully I can get this thing back running here soon. Here's the plugs out of the one side of the motor. They're definitely long overdue for a change. You can see all the soot, carbon buildup in them. I mean, this one didn't even have an end to it. It's stuck in the plug wire. So I'm gonna do plugs, plug wires, rotor cap button. Got the new wiring harness, everything in there, and I'm just taking my time working on piece by piece. This is that plug-in I was talking about. It's extra long. I'm assuming it goes here, so I have to cut it, put the right end on it. But for now, it's gonna be flopping around. Shouldn't keep anything from starting. All right, I got the other intake manifold. Sanded it down, just hit it with a red scuff pad or whatever. I'd already previously kind of cleaned it up a little bit and tried to get most of the carbon out of the inside of it. But I'm gonna try the wrinkle wrap spray paint crap on it. So haven't done it before. Hopefully it turns out all right. After I get it, I'll probably get a sander and block this thing down so it's a nice shiny letters coming back through. But we'll see how it turns out. All right, I got the intake manifold sprayed with that wrinkle paint. I put 3 pretty heavy coats on. So it gives about 24 hours to dry. So I'm gonna give this thing, I guess, so tomorrow evening or whatever, and I'll see how it looks. I mean, you can already kind of see the texture and wrinkle coming in it, but I'm hoping it'll lose a little bit more of that shine and get a little more tight with the wrinkles, because right now it's just kind of, it's a little blotchy, but we'll see how it looks. And then I also got the plug wires, rotor cap and button, everything on top of the engine. I'm gonna make some zip tie holders or whatever for the plug wires here, and that'll be about all. So I mean, once I get that intake and stuff dry, I'll probably put that on tomorrow as well, and this thing will be about ready to fire up. All right, here's the intake manifold after about 24 hours of drying time. Did get a little bit better. I mean, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm gonna get some sandpaper and a block, and I'm gonna block down the top of this here so it's nice shiny aluminum. Painted the vacuum tree and stuff here, but I mean, here's old intake versus the new intake. It's definitely a heck of a difference, which you can see this one had a leaky gasket at the throttle body and all kinds of gunk and grease buildup. Alright, I got all that stuff sanded down. Looks pretty good. You can see all the lettering and everything pretty clearly. I just hit with 80 and then 220. I kind of just went back and forth because you can still see sand scratches, but I went back and forth. That way it just looks like it's brushed and looks pretty good. I mean, I'm more than impressed with how this thing turned out. Alright, I got the intake manifold, everything back on. Plug wires, I made the little zip tie holders and stuff here. Only had purple zip ties, so have to do. I mean, if you want nice ones, I'd use black, and I'd do in the opposite way. I did these backwards. I'd have the bulk end of them facing downward so you don't see them. But the intake manifold looks pretty good. Gotta clean up a couple other odds and ends. I mean, I got the throttle body off still because I'm painting it. Just painting it silver. If I had enough, you know, if I had endless hours, I'd spend the time and polish it up, since I'm pretty sure it's aluminum, so it looks like chrome, but don't really have that much time to be doing all that. But clean up a lot of the other hoses. Got to get some gasket maker and make a EGR gasket here. Did not get that one, but alrighty, got everything on except the last little boot that goes from the mass airflow sensor to the throttle body. But everything's cleaned up, painted, put on. Some point I'll probably put new, probably going to need like new idle air control valves and stuff like that. I just reused the EGR gasket since I didn't have one. But it looks pretty sharp. Cleaned up the plastics and rubber hoses, everything best I could. I mean, it looks a lot better than it did for sure. But let me put this other hose on and we'll see if she's running right now. All right, everything's hooked up. Let's see how this thing runs. Idling pretty smoothly. Need some gas. Don't see any issues or anything going on. Either needs a oil switch, or I did not get that plugged in all the way. I'll have to double check that, but voltmeter, everything's working. Yep, that was pretty decent.